Hey, what's going on, Wealthy Legacy Journeyers? Welcome back to the Wealthy Legacy Journey. I'm your host, Kendell Liden, and the title of today's episode is When Life Speeds Up, Don't Forget to Slow Down. And it felt like a fitting title for today's episode. If anybody notices, today's episode came out late, and that is because I just had one of those weeks that felt like a month, like a 1 week month, or a 1 month week or something like that. Has anybody else ever had one of those where like you had a week that was so busy, full of so many twists and turns and curveballs that it literally felt like you just lived through a whole month, even though on the calendar it was only 1 week, and you're like, how did all of that stuff happen in just 1 week? Man, this last week was crazy. It's a part of it. We get busy as we are trying to build the journey, as we're trying to, build out this thing that we're doing, and we're building wealth and we're building generational change. Like it takes a lot of work and effort. For us right now, I'm working on the stocks. Libby's working on doing our stuff. We still have our kids. We still have our marriage. We still have, I still have my day job to take care of. Like we still have all these other aspects in life that have to be taken care of. But then once you put all those to bed for the day, you still have to grow. Like that's the time that you can grow. You can either check out and watch TV or you can keep growing. But sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, it makes it difficult when it feels like you roll from one work day to the next. When you have some wins, it's exciting. When it's just work and you're just learning, it can be pretty tough. So let me start off talking about what's going on in real estate right now. What have I been going through this last week? Well, right now I have one major rehab. That rehab's gonna be, I think it's like something like a $60,000 budget. Full rehab on the inside. The house is probably 40s, 50s, if I were to guess. I can't remember the exact age of it. Full rehab in and out. Plus, there's a shop in the back, and we've been dealing with plumbing issues in the back shop and having to make decisions around that. And the inside, we've had to deal with, gas and water and electricity and just lots of weird, quirky stuff. You can tell there's been a lot of DIY stuff over time. So we've been just like unweaving that, spider web of goodness of DIY projects done wrong over time and, get it back to where it's like, okay, this is safe. Like the electrical isn't actually going to, light itself on fire or anything like that. And then we have to proceed forward, all of that on a small rehab budget, which, you might say, oh, $60,000 is huge. Well, it is, it's a lot of money. But when you're paying out multiple crews, buying tons and tons of materials, having to do plumbing and electricity and HVAC and like, man, it wouldn't be. You go through it fast. And so I've got that one full rehab on my plate. I've got another rehab over in Alvarado that's to BT2, Blue Tape 2, and working on finishing up putting in the driveway for that. I actually have a culvert being delivered there today, which is very exciting. And then we also have I have, like I said, the crew going out there to finish up the interior Blue Tape 2. They were going to finish some exterior stuff once the culvert goes in from the county should come. It's being delivered today. The county should install it next week sometime, would be my thought process. And then after that, we have the driveway installed. And so we're a couple weeks out. I'm hoping by mid-October to have that off of my plate. So a couple more weeks and finishing up the inside repairs. And at the very end, we'll do kind of all the exterior, get it ready for looking beautiful, curb appeal, whatever you want to call it. And then that one goes live. I've also got three different rehabs that are in repair mode. Now, one of them is just very basic, repair amendment, and those have pretty much been taken care of, and we're pretty well done with it. And now I can close, which is exciting. There's another one where all of a sudden it's developing these big cracks. There's these holes in the ground. I have no idea what's going on, and we pretty much finished up the inspections on it, but now we've got like what is it? It almost looks like post foundation repair settling, but it's not. And so we're trying to figure out like how do we take care of that, in a way that I don't know. So that's one that we're just trying to figure out like, okay, what's going on with this? What do we need to do? And then there's another one that I did a long time ago out in Granbury. It was like an as is deal, kind of a junky mobile home, or I should say it was very junky mobile home. As is deal more just like cleaned it and got it to where the electricity and the water were working, relisted it. Nobody wanted to buy it. And so now we're going out there and patching up some holes. Yesterday was interesting. I had what I call a tour day DFW. It wasn't quite DFW. It was more South DFW. As I went to Fort Worth when I first started the day, and then I made my way down to Alvarado, and then over to Cleburne, and then over to Granbury, and then all the way back to where I'm at. And I spent over half of my day just driving yesterday, and but I wanted to get everything knocked out. But if I were to transition now from what I'm doing in real estate to stocks, it might be fitting to talk about my day yesterday, in real estate. And then what did I do? I rolled to the evening. Well, I get home yesterday at 6 o'clock. It's a little bit later than normal for me. I usually start my day early, end it late, or end it early. Yesterday I started it early and ended it late, and that was a crazy. Get home, I was with the kids, with the fam. Kids went to bed, maybe like an hour and a half after I got home. And then I rolled straight into my second work day where I spent about 2 hours studying stocks and, learning from my mentors, learning from mainly I went through some mentor club stuff with Noah Davidson over at the Cash Flow Academy. And I was going through his stuff and talking about, collaring positions, talking about safety in the market, talking about, when to start buying into the market again on the rally, what to look for, what is bullish signs, what's bearish signs, what's giving us bullish sentiment right now, what's giving us bearish sentiment right now. Really great stuff. I learned a lot. Um, I learned a lot about how and when to wrap positions and unwrap positions, and it was great. But it was just a lot coming off of, it was kind of like oh, okay, I had a long week last week and then I roll into a long Monday. Um, but it's good. It's good. If we look at VMAS 4 as far as the trading stuff that we're doing and how that went, we went 9 for 18 last week. So we're basically at break even on that strategy for last week. That has good and bad stuff with it. The good part is that the week before we crushed it with the VMAS 4 system. And so that protected our profits from the week before because we were able to break even last week. But it was disappointing not to be able to make more profits again. The markets are just kind of like in a weird phase where basically the VMAS 4 system buys into support zones. And if those support zones, it's like major, major support zones. And if those support zones fail, then we're stopping out and waiting for it to maybe hit like another support zone before we try again. And as the market's just been doing some crazy stuff, it's, been going up and then it pulled back down and doing all sorts of here, there, and everywhere kind of deals. And on the weeks that, it's starting to climb, we're doing really well. But it has been nice to see like a week like last week where we had some, we hit some highs, we had some pullback. It was right before the FOMC meeting. They just lowered rates by half a point. Some crazy stuff happened. We were still able to come out break even. I'm also learning from a gentleman, D-Man Donald Williams, on how to do what's called sniping. Is what he's called it. There's also scalping. I think it's kind of like a similar thing. Could not actually answer for you right now the difference between sniping and scalping. I'm pretty darn sure they're the same thing. But anyways, looking at these volume profile ranges and basically where are there a lot of people interested in buying and selling this, and you can based on the trend of the day, you can short or long it, based on whether you think the trend's gonna continue one way or another, and then you're just playing that side. But what was probably the most intriguing, fascinating, interesting thing that I've been learning over the last maybe 2 weeks, like it's really been just kind of sinking in, is a lesson that both Noah Davidson over at the Cashflow Academy and D-Man, Donald Williams, over with Monument Traders Alliance, they both talk about this idea of how to get to a free trade. And it's been really interesting. And, it's how do you take a position? And then once you take a strong position, as that position continues to move into your favor, how can you take the profits that you've made and reduce your risk liability on that asset close to, near to, or even below zero? So, for example, with D-Man, when scalping or sniping, he might take a trade with 10 contracts. And then as it moves into, he sets up like range 1, range 2, range 3. So as it moves into that first range of profit taking, he might take roughly 60 to 80% off the table, which pays for the trade. So let's say you put $1,000 in, but then it moves into a profit target. Well, now I might be able to take 7 of the 10 contracts off, selling those for $1,000. I put $1,000 in initially. The value of those contracts increased, so I'm able to sell seven for $1,000, and I now hold three contracts absolutely for free. Another interesting thing, and this is more of like what Noah Davidson talks about. He talks about, butterflies and debit spreads and credit spreads and these different, instruments inside of trading options and how you can use those to trade out. And so, it's really interesting, including, over the last few weeks as the market's done a lot of rumbling, tumbling, and things of this nature. He had stocks that were collared. And as the market pulled back, and when you collar it, that's where you might own 100 shares, you sell a call, you buy a put. And so that way you lock in your profits, but you also lock in your losses. Well, then as the prices moved down in the market, as the market went, haywire, he might have bought a call. There was an example where he bought a call for $1,500. But then he was able to then turn around and sell that call for something like $300 as the prices moved down. Now the value of that call was decreased. The value of the put had increased. So he kept the put. He sold the call. And he said, if the market continues to look bearish, which at that time he didn't see how it would be able to, he didn't look like it was going to continue in this bearish move aggressively. But he said, if the market continued bearish, what I could do is I could sell another call from this point, use that to pay to buy another put, and then he would be in a net short position. Because if you think about it, if you're or I guess he'd be like in a net anyway. If you have a when you buy the call and you sell a put, you're basically canceling out any movement of the stock, right? Because if it goes up, you're committing to sell it at a lower price. So it doesn't matter how far it moves up, you've committed to sell it down here. If it moves down, you have the right to buy it for this price or to sell it for this price. So it doesn't matter how far it moves down, you still have the right to sell it for that price. So it protects you on the downside, but it greatly limits your upside. But when that price moved down, he now has a put that's deep in the money. He has a call that's way out of the money, can sell the call, buy another call, close to the money, at the money, can sell another put at the money. And now he's holding two puts. He's got one call. So he's still committed to selling the shares of, I don't know, let's just say it's Apple. But then because he has two puts, he's locked in the risk of his stocks, but he still has the ability to make money from the standalone put if he needed to, if the market started moving back, because he could use one of those puts to exit his stock position. But then he could use the other put to actually profit from as the prices move down. It's so interesting. I'm still trying to figure it out, like wrap my brain around it. I understand it when they explain it on like a certain topic of, oh, like in this exact situation, this is how it worked. Like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. But now I'm kind of to that point where it's like, okay, I need to get my brain to start thinking like that. I really understand, D-Man's philosophy about trading out, 7 of the 10 contracts, having a free trade, letting the runners run. That's really stuck with me. Totally understand where he's coming from on that. I really like that idea, the model, the philosophy. I'm thinking about ways that we might even be able to apply that and utilize that inside of the VMAS 4 system. But neither here nor there. I've gotten to practice some sniping last week, and I plan to practice some more sniping this week using that mindset. And it was really cool because last week on Thursday, I ended up doubling my money at 100% gain off of a couple different trades. The market moved my direction. And then on Friday, I ended up with a 5% gain for the day, as I had some that went my direction, some that went against me. But because I kept trading out to those free trades, I was able to take considerable profits, and I had 3 losers, 1 winner, and I was still able to come out with a 5% gain. Now, the last loser that I didn't realize that I wasn't paying enough attention, it moved up on above average volume, and that one crushed me. I would have had like a 30% gain for Friday, but I ended up with a 5% gain because of that. That was a great mistake to make as I was practicing. And so now I get to have made that mistake and learn from that mistake. But with all that said, like this is what we have to do as we're building a wealthy legacy journey. Like we do have to live sometimes these weeks that feel like a whole month because we're doing so much because we have, 2 work weeks within one time. But that's how we grow, right? Like we have to keep paying the bills. We have to keep the lights on. But we also are trying to grow something else on the side. Libby's doing her art and I'm helping her figure out the editing and the printing and all that kind of stuff. And she's rocking it. She's doing a great job. I'm very excited for what she's putting together. And I think she's going to do a really good job at the fairs coming up in October and be able to start bringing in some additional cash flow for our family, which is very, very exciting for us. And then, you also have the stocks, and I'm hoping that I'm able to start bringing in some additional cash flow, and that might not even come into our home, but it would just go towards building, continuing to build up our cash pile, continuing to build up assets, and giving us more protection, and, giving us that growth because it's still my goal that at the 2 week or 2 year mark of having my job with the Ambition Group, to be able to leave that, which would be May of 2025, somewhere like May, June 2025, would be the 2 year mark. And that's where I'm really hoping that I can break away into my full time thing. Right now, I'm pretty sure that full time thing is going to be stock market investing. We've had it's really been crickets on the real estate side of things as far as the tax lots go. I could get into fix and flips because I understand that business inside and out, but I don't like carrying all the debt. So it's not something that I'm really interested in pursuing hardcore. But that's what really intrigues me about the stocks is that I can make strong ROIs. I can do it on smaller amounts of money, but I can grow quickly over time, quicker than I can not investing my money, making my money make more money for me on the active investment income. And I can produce an income for my family. It's something I really enjoy. I enjoy the math. I enjoy the logic. I enjoy trying to understand what's happening in the market, why it's moving that way, all those different aspects. Am I tired? A little bit. Am I enjoying it? Yes, for the most part, but I'm also realizing that like everything that we try to pursue and do is going to have aspects of it that feel like work. Um, Libby's art, it definitely has aspects that feel like work. The socks definitely have aspects that feel like work. One of the things that I've been working on this last week is figuring out developing a schedule for the stock market trading days. How do I use my time as efficiently as possible? One of the things that I learned from D-Man is that the first 2 hours of the day can really help to point to the direction of the trend of the day. So if you look at the where the open and close of the first hour is. If the second hour of the day closes below it, most likely you're going to have a bearish sentiment for the day in the market. If it closes above it, you're going to have a bullish sentiment. So that gives me some interesting ideas of, okay, now I'm looking for, let's say it closed down below. That's what happened last week. I was like, okay, that second hour bar it's getting pretty close. It was like 10 minutes before the second hour bar closed. It looked like it was, basically going to guaranteed close below the first bar for a couple of the indexes. And so then I just started flipping through the indexes. I looked at the SPY, I looked at Dow Jones, I looked at the IWM, the Russell 2000, and I looked at the QQQ. And I looked at their, 1 day and 1 week charts, and I looked at what has the least amount of resistance below it, what has the least amount of support below it, has I feel like the greatest likelihood of being able to move down without, significant pressure to stay above a certain level at any given point within a standard bar. And that's where I really liked last week the Qs. And so I shorted the Qs. And I did that on Thursday. I did that on Friday. And so I'm learning a lot of great things. But the interesting part about that, process is that you have to wait till the first 2 hours of the day are done. So I've been organizing my week of, okay, market opens Central Time 8:30. It's Eastern Time. It opens at 9:30 a.m. But so for me, it opens at 8:30. So, for me, it's my schedule looks like getting to the computer at 7:30, spending an hour, looking at the main market, looking at, all these different aspects for the week because just to kind of get my finger on the pulse before my first, day of trading because I've been trading Thursdays and Fridays. And then when the market opens at 8:30, I'm looking for more VMAS 4 setups. And then once we roll around to the, 10, 15, 10, 20 mark, I'm starting to go look at the indexes and look at, okay, are we looking for like long bearish sentiment for the day, bullish sentiment for the day? If we've got bullish sentiment out of the 4 indexes, what do I feel like looks like as the greatest ability to move upwards without resistance, or same if it's on the bearish side. Start marking up that chart. So I look for range 1, 2, and 3 on the bullish side, 1, 2, and 3 on the bearish side. I kind of get my mind in the right place. And then at 10:30, we're 2 hours into that trading day, and I start, doing the sniping. And then somewhere around like 1:30, 2 o'clock, your volume starts to drop off for the day, pretty significantly after that point. The, cost of the zero DTE starts deteriorating rapidly as you're quickly running out of time. And so that's kind of where I start putting that on the sidelines. I go back to the VMAS 4. See, is there anything else? Is there any other setups that have formed through today that I didn't see this morning that I can look at again now? Any of the setups that I marked this morning, do I need to change them now? Have any of the, any of the inner indexes of, the S&P 500 change values throughout the day? That there's some are stronger, some are weaker. I start looking at, XLY, XLP. I forget what they all stand for, but you have like communication, you've got finance, you've got uh, consumer cyclicals or something like that, and a bunch of others. There's like a real estate sector. There is an industrial sector, a basic material sector. There's quite a number of sectors. And so, looking at those, seeing if there's been any changes, do I need to update any of my alerts? We call them bobbers on the VMAS 4 system. And is everything set in place? And so kind of the morning, the evening, I'm setting up those alerts. Obviously, if one of those alerts goes off during the day, I stop what I'm doing, switch over to that, make sure that we've got a valid setup there, and then I take that trade. And then I'm back, middle of the day is kind of filled with this directional sentiment of the market, trying to snipe that, get into a free trade, and then hold some runners through the rest of the day to the last bigger main profit targets. So it's been really exciting. I've learned a lot. Pushing myself pretty hard in the real estate side of things. Ambition Group is trying to grow a lot of their operations and what they're doing over there, and so I want to honor the fact that I've got that job and do the absolute best that I can. So, trying to cram a 40-hour work week into 3 days, and then usually Thursday and Friday night. And honestly, I'm texting people, sending in payroll and stuff like that during the trading days on Thursday and Friday. My mind feels like it's kind of pulled all over the place on those 2 days. And then in the evening, I'm usually playing catch up, doing stuff, because the market closes at 3. So now I have 2 hours between 3 and 5, where I'm just like blowing through work as fast as I possibly can. I'm usually creating like a to-do list during my trading day of like, okay, when the market closes at 3, these are all the things I need to do. Mind you, I started that trading day at 7:30 a.m. And it's very mentally taxing, especially right now as I'm trying to learn and do all at the same time. So like 3 o'clock rolls around, I take a mini nap for like 30 seconds, and then I wake back up and I, go to another 2.5 hours of real estate. And it's been busy, but I can also see, just this light at the end of the tunnel of like, this is working. I'm starting to understand the trades that these guys are taking, why they're taking these trades, how to take these trades for myself, how to build my own trades, how to leg in into trades, out of trades. And I have a ton more to learn. And I think one of the things that excites me the most is that this idea of like realizing that when I go into trading full time, like that doesn't mean that I necessarily slow down. It means I just get to have one focus. But I'm actually super pumped. There is a course by Andy Tanner over at the Cash Flow Academy, Ultimate Options. It's like a college level course. I'm in options for what I understand. The course is like $8,000 a year membership to the mentor program, something like $4,000. So for 12 grand, I can buy this course and a year of an advanced, mentorship club. And that's one of the things that I'm actually super excited about buying and being a part of. To me, I looked at as an amazing opportunity to be able to purchase some education to be able to help me to continue to grow. And so I'm so excited for when I get to the point that I have the, mental capacity to do that. And I'll be able to do that probably about the time that I, leave my job with real estate, because then I'll be able to trade all day and then kind of take that night class in what I'm doing just to continue to improve my skill sets and abilities and what I'm growing and doing. So coaching is good. Mentoring is good. Like paying for coaching and mentoring around the things that you're trying to accomplish and do and be successful at is so, so important. Couple last things that I'm pretty excited about is that Liliana's birthday is this coming Friday. And what I would encourage you guys is, as you're busy, because I'm sure you're busy, I know I'm busy, don't forget to stop and smell the roses. That's why the title of today's episode is When Life Speeds Up. Don't forget to slow down, because you just heard how many ways my life is speeding up and getting busy and crazy. And there's all these things, but in the past, I've tried to build a company before where I set my family in the back burner and I was like, I'm building something for us and our family's future. And once I get this thing built, like it's going to be amazing for all of us. I'm going to come back and be a great dad. And I realized it's not at all a good way to live. When that business failed, I said, next time I build a business, I'm going to do it differently. I'm not going to put my family on the back burner in order to build a business. I am going to be a fully invested father as I build my business. And so I'm very excited that Friday I'm going to be able to be out of the office, pretty much hanging out with the family all day on Friday for her birthday. We're going to the zoo. We're going for donuts in the morning, zoo in the afternoon. While they're taking naps, I'll probably catch up on some work, and then they wake up, and we're going to hang out again. We're going to just really celebrate, love on, and be excited for Liliana turning 5 years old. My little baby is turning 5, and I love her so much. And so, if you ever watch this, Liliana, happy birthday! I sure do love you, girl. And I'm so blessed to have you in my life. Another interesting thing that happened to me this last week is I was having a conversation with a guy, and he was asking me, he's like, "Oh yeah, you're in real estate, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I am. I do real estate, do some stock market stuff, but I encouraged him to some other people that he could talk to that could give him a lot more information on stock market stuff if that's what he's interested in, and some other people that have really crushed it a lot better than I have in real estate that could give him some ideas about that. But it was really interesting when I was talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just looking for a way to get my money working a little bit better for me. Over the past 5 years, we've made about 13%, which isn't too bad, but it's not amazing, but it's not bad either. It's pretty good." And I couldn't I like my mind just thought like is that 13% a year, or is that 13% over 5 years? Like, you didn't even keep up with the S&P 500. I don't know. I'm like, and I'm not dogging on this person at all, but it just kind of had this moment of reflection of like, wow, like even though life's been tough in these last, what has it been? I think it's been like 6 years, something like that. That we've been doing this, I've had lots of ups and downs and twists and turns. I feel so blessed that I've had the opportunity to learn how to multiply resources effectively, continually, at a high pace, at a high rate. And that's what we're working on doing right now. Like, that is a huge part of the wealthy legacy journey. And I just sat back and I was like, 13% over 5 years. Like, where do you have your money that you're only getting 13% growth in 5 years? Like, I just I couldn't believe what my ears were hearing. Um, and so, it just gave me this like real excitement of like, man, I really can't wait to continue building this to do double dare your money. Cause I would have loved to be able to point him to, hey, check out double dare your money. Like I can teach you how to grow your money so much faster than that. And it just kind of renewed me in an excitement for the wealthy legacy journey and everything we're doing here, because it's like, the wealthy legacy journey allows me not to just make money for me, but allows me to learn these concepts and these ideas so then I can pass it on and I can teach other people how to build big things out of their life. And so that was exciting. Another exciting thing that happened this week is I got a dishwasher installed in the trailer, which most fifth wheels and stuff like that do not have dishwashers. But I took a countertop dishwasher and I reconfigured the draining system and the water filling system, not to hook up to the sink, but to actually hook up to the main lines down below. And so I was able to knock that out this past Saturday. It was a long Saturday, but I got it done in a single day. And that was so exciting for Libby to now have a dishwasher and just kind of reduce some of her workload as she's working like crazy too, to try to do the art and do the kids and do the family and do all the things just like I am. And so I wanted to help her out and say, I love you, by helping give her a break in that area where she's not having to hand wash all these dishes on top of everything else she's doing. Just give her just a little bit of like, okay, you can have a reprieve here. We can all load our dishes after every meal, and then bada bing, bada boom, got clean dishes out of a dishwasher. It feels more like a normal house again. She's made some huge sacrifices for me, for our family. She's getting benefit from this too. But she's made some huge sacrifices. Me not having a normal 9 to 5 job and normal 9 to 5 career where I climb the corporate ladder. And I think there's going to be huge blessings out of that as well. But with that said, I don't want to ignore the sacrifices that she's made. And so trying to give her some of those normal things blesses her, which blesses me. One last thing that I want to talk about is this last week. I started feeling the Monday blues early on Sunday evening. I didn't even wait till Monday this week. But the way that I defeated those Monday blues, like, does anybody else feel those Monday morning blues where you're just like, oh, it's like Monday, like I got so many things to do this week. I'm tired coming into Monday. Anybody else feel like, is that just me? But I defeated those blues with the gratitude game. And Libby and I went outside and Libby was like, hey, can we hang out? I was like, how about you come out with me? We'll do the gratitude game together. And we just ping pong back and forth. Like, God, thank you so, so much for a really good job in real estate that pays me well. They get to, learn more in real estate. I get to continue in that investing realm. I can organize my own schedule. I can, work longer, busier, harder days, 3 days a week, so I can free up 2 days a week and then work in the, afternoons for those. And I have the ability to have a flexible schedule to learn and be able to practice and implement. That's just a way that I'm able to leverage my schedule to make this part of the learning journey better and easier. Thank you for Libby's art. Thank you for my kids. Thank you for my wife. And just some of these, how do I say this? Some of those things in life that start to feel like responsibilities. And sometimes you start to get so many responsibilities, you feel overloaded. I try to say thank you for those responsibilities and realize how blessed I am to have those, because there's some people out there who would love to have the responsibilities that I have and are yearning for them and don't have them, or maybe don't have them anymore. I thank the Lord for my wife, and I thanked him that my wife was still with me, because I know that there's somebody out there who had their wife with them last Sunday, and this Sunday they don't have their wife with them anymore because of a tragic accident, a passing. Maybe their wife walked out on them. I have no idea. But I know that I'm blessed to have my wife and my kids. Like, somebody is missing one of their kids from their family right now because of some accident, something happened, and their kid is gone. And I still have all three of my kids, and I am just extremely blessed. Yes, do I feel like my real estate job is busy sometimes? Absolutely. And it's crazy. And, every job has its ups and downs and things you have to work with, and its pros and its cons. But I'm not out there looking for work. I'm able to put food on the table. I'm able to take care of my family, keep the electricity on. So praise the Lord. Like, there's so many good things. I could look at the hard, I could look at the difficult, I could look at the things I don't enjoy about it, or I could choose to turn my perspective to what is good about this right now. What do I enjoy about this right now? So, all that to say, going back to the title of today's episode, when life speeds up, and it gets crazy, and it gets busy, and it feels almost unmanageable, the amount of things you have to get done, I get it. But don't forget to slow down. Slow down for your kiddo's birthday. Slow down to be with your family. Slow down for bedtime and singing bedtime songs and reading books. Slow down to take care of your spouse and do the things that they need, such as maybe installing a dishwasher or giving them a hug, in order to say, I love you. And when you start feeling those Monday blues, no matter what day of the week it is, feeling busy, overwhelmed, like there's so many things going on, so many things that might not be going right, take a step back and play the gratitude game. What do you have that somebody else would love to have that you overlook and you just see it as normal these days? Be grateful for it. Tell God how grateful you are to have that in your life. Recognize how good it is. Recognize the goodness that is in your life, and stop and smell those roses. With all that said, before we get out of here, guys, let's say our identity mantra together. I explore the unknown. I conquer new frontiers. My journey is powerful, and my wake is a wealthy legacy. And as a reminder, guys, the way we define wealthy here at the Wealthy Legacy Journey is simply the ability to cover your monthly expenses without having to lift a finger. It's not about having tons and tons of money. It's not about having millions and millions or billions of dollars. It's just about creating that cash flow in your life. How can you create that passive investment cash flow in your life so that way you can free yourself up? Maybe to create more cash flow, maybe to do what you feel like you're called to do, whatever it is. But that's the beginning stages of wealth, and that's what we're working towards right now. And the way we define legacy here at the Wealthy Legacy Journey is it's the long lasting impact that you leave after you. Man, I had wealthy down. I got to memorize this. Leaving a long lasting impact on others who come after you as they receive the fruit of your labor, whether that fruit be good or bad. I almost have that one memorized. I have wealthy memorized. Got to memorize that legacy piece. But yeah, just remember, guys, like, whatever fruit you want to leave over the coming months, years, decades, whatever fruit you want to leave behind, the first question you got to ask yourself is, okay, well, what seeds is it going to take planting in order to grow the trees that will produce that fruit? And you need to start planting those seeds right now. And you plant those seeds right now, you'll eventually sprout those trees. You can cultivate them, you can care for them until one day, eventually, they will produce that fruit into your lives and the lives of the people around you. With that said, guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, please like it. Please subscribe to the channel. It helps the algorithm. Don't forget, in the description of the video on YouTube, the podcast on Spotify, or wherever you're listening to us, there is a link to the Wealthy Legacy Journey resource page, which has, different books and other resources that have helped me in my investing journey that I really hope and I believe could help you in your investing journey as well. So I just put that, it's kind of a culmination there, free of charge. I just want to help you guys out. There are some Amazon affiliate links in there, though, to some of those products, and that just helps our channel out. And there is a link to the Wealth Health Checkup for if you're just not sure where to start in your wealthy legacy journey, but you do know it's time to move forward. You can go put in all your financials. It's a spreadsheet that you can download onto your computer. You can put in what's your income, what's your expenses, what's your net, what's your assets, what's your liability, what's your cash flow. You can get all these numbers out and figure out, okay, in my next step, what do I need to focus on? Do I need to focus on creating more income, decreasing my expenses, creating more cash flow, building up more assets, reducing liabilities? And it really just gives you a good picture with a color-coded way of figuring out where you're at so you can really determine better for yourself where you need to go. So make sure you go check that out. With all that said, guys, it's been another episode dedicated to you and your own personal, wealthy legacy journey. So go out there, guys, and this week, take that right next step. But as you're taking those steps forward, do not forget to slow down, smell the roses, and be grateful for the good things that you have in your life. I can't wait to hear your guys' success stories and what goes right. Make sure that you guys let me know in the comments, reach out to me directly, and let me hear some of those success stories so I know that what we're doing here at the Wealthy Legacy Journey is making a difference and making an impact. With all that said, guys, awesome hanging out with y'all, and I will see y'all on the next episode. Bye, everybody.